Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to my sketchbook. For the last little bit, I've been kind of suffering with drawing Toothless for some reason because I don't really understand what's going on. I know the dragon ages, I guess, a little bit too. I've only been watching the trailers, so I'm not studying other people's art. I'm trying to just think of how this creature could be fierce. So I'm going to kind of get away from Toothless for a moment or so and just kind of draw random dragons and try to make them kind of cutesy. I don't know. We'll see what happens here. So I'm going to zoom in on the paper first, make sure that I can kind of focus on the pen just enough. See if we can lock it down like that. And I'm just going to kind of keep them small so I don't have to put in lots and lots of detail. So let's see what I can come up with, and maybe not much at all, but just for fun. All right, let's see what we can do here. This is going to be super tiny, I guess. Now the idea of what I'm doing here is just trying to get little ideas out of my head. And they don't actually have to look like any dragons in particular. It's more just ideas. And if I want, I can add a bit more detail to it after. But as I said, I don't really know what's going on with why I think of Toothless one way, and yeah, I don't know, it's strange. So I'm just going to get other little dragons out and about. Which is a fun thing to do. And maybe what kind of throws me off a little bit is the idea of the 4 legs. That shouldn't throw me off. For some reason it does. So I'm just going to draw shapes. And fun little ideas, if at all possible. Which can happen. Got some shadowy looking things going on right now. Huh. Some of these, nothing's really going to come from them. I'm just trying to empty out certain concepts in my head. Which is good for the sketchbook. Imagine if there were creatures out there, still undiscovered, and things that we would actually kind of call dragons, but they're much smaller or whatnot. I think we'd know if there was a 70-foot long dragon flying through the sky. Somebody would track that thing somehow. This is kind of a rhinoceros looking thing. An underbite. Go with like a side horn, like that a little bit. But we don't want it to look, like a traditional demon or anything like that. Or we could, I suppose. Kind of a spiky thing going on with that. just a little bit if we can. Let's go to there. Put more of that underbite. I feel like there's a dragon that kind of has that look to it. I might have seen something like that in one of the trailers. Now, I haven't seen the new movie yet. The live action kind of take on it. Perhaps this week or this weekend, we shall see. Put an extra row. This is always the weird part about trying to figure out things, especially when you're using your imagination. You draw a whole bunch of little ideas out. You might only like a couple, and that's all right. You can start a new page. Now, what would I do differently with this, I wonder? You know, would this be more aquatic? You know, do dragons like to play in the water? I think if you have the ability to fly, that's just way better. What kind of a neck would you have? What if you had like a longer neck? How scaly would you be? And if you had ears like this and spikes like this off the top of your head, well, maybe they'd continue along a little bit. What if you had kind of like more little spikies off the back of your arm, little elbow, kind of like the same kind of spikies, almost like Batman's gauntlets. Let's say only Three opposing fingers. Super long nails, super talons. Something ridiculous like that. That's kind of funny. More little doodle. What could I do for a different sort of dragon? I know there's a two-headed dragon. Let's see if we can get a super big-eyed dragon. And maybe this is why I try to picture Toothless in my head, but for some reason I picture, like, you know, some of the toys, or yeah, I don't know. I struggle with that. But let's make this one kind of an alien face, but I'm going to give it kind of like bigger eyebrows, let's say. And what kind of like eyes in here? Well, how about like this? And for fun, another one over here. And for fun, another one down here. I don't know what the point of that would be. A 3-iris dragon. Let's do the same thing on this side, of course, for some version of symmetry. And why not another set of nostrils? The singular fang over here. Well, let's make it a longer fang. Something about that I like so far. Now, if I were to give it ears, would I use something similar to that? I don't know if this dragon needs to have ears. Let's say no. But let's extend some part of these eyebrows. And shortened jaw, but widens out with maybe more fangs. So that's kind of a face that I have on the go there, I think. But let's widen out the jaw. And shorts there. Let's go with I don't know. Kind of spider-like in a way. I'm going to give another spike over here. Another one there. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. Let's set this back a little bit with some shade there. You know what? Let's get rid of the nose there a little bit and put it kind of up here. Hmm. I don't know what I did with that. Or what I want that to look like from the side. Well, if that's the nose, so again, it's kind of a human-like face. And I don't know if I like that as much now. course, I had some extra kind of nonsense things going on over here. The eyebrows, that went a little, yeah. How would I make that more dragon-like now? Well, I would extend the... I'm going to start with that rough eye shape. Raise the nose to there. Have a brow that goes out a little bit further, that kind of protects the eye a little bit from damage, which is how we're kind of set up, right? Extended cheek, let's say. Just try to figure out how I want the cheek, the orbital bone, and all that kind of stuff. Orbit being like, you know, the eye, right? The nose set back here. So instead of extending down here to make up, like, you know, the tip of the nose, the sinus cavity would immediately start up by the eye socket, let's say. And what if? That goes back here. What if we set? No, I don't think I like that very much. No. I think that could be slightly more like it. I mean, you know, if I'm kind of playing around with this, but try to take a little bit more out of a human face of it and make it kind of a little more bee-like. That might be slightly better. Let's say there's like little tiny arms. And again, we'll have the triple eye. I think I kind of like where that one could go so far. And what if it had smaller wings, much like a bumblebee? We'll give it like a couple like that. And then on the other side, kind of the same thing. More bee-like legs. And a tail set up a little bit like a scorpion, let's say. And that's what its stinger is going to be like. We'll add a couple extra accoutrements. I think that one has weird potential for a doodle beyond doodle. So I'm going to kind of stop the video there because I think I found the one that I might try to elaborate on just for fun. So we'll get a quick look at some of the ridiculous things I did over the last almost 35 minutes. For some reason I started this and I liked it, and then I ruined it, and then I went to this and I hated it. And then I thought about how I'd set the, the jawline back from the cheekbone and brow. But I think staying closer to a bee like that makes it kind of more fun. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it, and maybe the next one I'm going to explore this idea a little bit more and see where we go from there. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. All right, ciao for now.